Wait, no. Okay, I think that works, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ta-da!
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. By the time you see this, it will probably be afternoon. Try to do my coughs into my mask. Okay. Yes, I'm figuring by the time we get this posted, we should be saying afternoon. How's everybody doing? Yeah. But you never know when people are going to watch this. So
sometimes it's morning the next day.
Sometimes it's middle of the night because they can't sleep. I don't know. Hi. I'm Rebecca, getting the yarn fuzzies out of my nose from my mask. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion at Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
And welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Yeah, I think we got it right.
We got it right this time.
It could be because I took a monster nap yesterday. I kind of passed out for 2 hours yesterday afternoon, which is why if anyone was anxiously awaiting for the yarn that's in front of us to end up online, it didn't happen until about dinner time, or a little after.
That's my fault. I told her to go nap.
Yeah, well. And, okay, but here's the flip side of taking a monster nap. I couldn't get to sleep last night.
Oh.
So I went to bed around 12:30 or so.
Oh.
And so I'm still tired, but I tried.
And then morning slaps you in the face. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I think everybody in my world yesterday took a nap except me. And by 9 o'clock, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I should have taken a nap.
Oh, man. Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel that. So what you working on, Liz?
I am constantly, always now, working on my, it's my Daydream Dyeworks Papillon. And yesterday, I got the bottom part, well, it looks like the top part because the shell's upside down. Anyway, it's the Pokemon ball, row 5 and 6, 15 and 16, 22.
That's so pretty.
And then I did the next row on top of that, and now I'm getting ready to.
Yeah, and you were saying that the row you just finished, the stripe you just finished is
it was one of the blanks.
It's one of the sock blanks, which we've talked about the sock blanks. We still have people who are like, what are sock blanks? Each one looks unique and different. And you said you used how much?
I used maybe that much.
Yeah. So the sock blanks are the equivalent to the yardage of a fingering weight skein of yarn. Except they're machine knit and they're blank when the dyer gets them. And then they dye them with all kinds of fun colors. And then when you knit with them, which will probably be a different gauge than it was machine knit because it's knit fairly loosely, something else fun happens.
So this was closer to the bottom. This lighter area, the two wings on either side of the bowl. Mm-hmm. They were done towards the bottom of the sock blank.
Because my memory of the one you bought was not light.
No, it was very vivid, but it came out. Sock blanks tend to come out a little bit lighter when you knit with them. Than
because the color saturation is different.
Yeah, and then those were further. These two wings
same color
further up in the they get darker.
I just love the color change for the whole thing. Because to me, it shows how all of Emerald's colors go really well together. Oh, yeah. Because this is your Daydream Dyeworks Papillon. Yeah. It's all Emerald's work. It's right now you're doing what I'm calling a stripe.
Yeah. Each stripe is a different color, and I'm only repeating one yarn. I went through it last night and realized I am only repeating Flutterby, which It's that
Which is
tiny
a
little
really pretty
stripe right there.
Well,
So it's like only, it doesn't have any short rows in that.
So it
stripe.
deserves to be repeated
So,
because it.
Yeah. And it was called Flutterby, so
Mhm.
it should get repeated at least once. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I had all my yarns lined up on my entertainment center last night. And I would go and sit in my chair and look at them. And then I'd get up and I'd go and rearrange them. And I was like, wait, no, that can't be there. And that can't. And
I don't know of any knitter who second guessed their color choices.
Yeah.
And rearranged things 16 times.
And then I took pictures of the groupings so that I could go back and go, in case they got messed up or, somebody moved them off the entertainment center.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Oops. I didn't do that. What?
Yeah. No,
I have
that yarn you had up there? What?
You had yarn up there?
Yeah.
I have a picture on my phone from when I was, actually several. I think I only favorited the one that I'm using for my cousin's wedding blanket that I want to make him. And his wedding's been moved. His wedding was probably supposed to be happening like right now. And I have this much of it done. So I'm glad I took a picture because I don't remember what the heck I was going to do with that. I was going to marl it and change colors as I go. I haven't touched that thing in forever. So I'm glad I took a picture. I think I still need to take that out of the system.
Maybe.
Just maybe. Yeah, definitely. But I think, did we get back in? There was like one color that the system kept saying we had two of. It's like a light gray. And I was like, oh no, those are at my house.
I think we did get some.
I think we finally got the light gray back in stock for Cascade 220 Superwash. So, anything else you've been working on? Before I just start going off on all the
you've been working
few
on
things.
You've been working on more than I have because you're playing the field of
yes. Well, I know you're working on Papillons.
I'm working on Papillons, but since Tuesday, since I got my 3 skeins of yarn that I needed to fill in my
and also the temperature got cooler, so you actually have been baking and stuff.
I was baking because the house was finally cool enough to. There's always comments from my friends with, you could turn on the air. Yeah, but I'm cheap. I'd rather buy yarn than pay for air conditioning.
I actually had to turn the heat on yesterday, and my house smelled funny because the heat hadn't been on for a little while, and we probably need to change our filters. Anyway, neither here nor there.
I had to turn the heat on. It was a glorious sleep. It was like 72 in my house. I should have turned on an extra fan.
I turned the heat on not for bedtime, for when I was hanging out in my house and I was cold. Anyway, no, so around the edges of sleeping and trying to get yarn up on the internet, I did a couple of things, or I forgot to show you guys something on Tuesday, but I had a joke, and now it's going to be a bad joke, or not as funny of a joke because I just remembered it to go back to it.
It's not a thing.
Not a thing. I'm spending too much time with Brian. I love you, Brian, but it's true. No, I was about to say, it used to be that anyone, especially when we were over at the old shop, would be like, Liz, what you working on? It's a triangle shawl. We could guess, and it would be a triangle shawl. Yeah. And now it's, Liz, what you working on? And it's Papillon.
It's a Papillon, which is a triangle shawl.
Which is I don't want to say fancy triangle shawl. It is fancy, but then people get worried that it's difficult. And it's not. Once you get the hang of it, it's really not. So
I keep throwing people off when they're like, yeah, I'm working on my Papillon shawl. And I'm like, the first one's the hardest. And they look at me and they're like, what? And I'm like, you start, like, the more you do, the more rhythms you pick up in the pattern.
Yeah, and there's a knit along butterfly group on Facebook, and I can't tell you how many times, it's like a broken record. People jump on and they're like, I'm doing my first, here we go. And then the next time they post, they're like, I'm planning my second one already. Yeah. So,
but if you can make it through the first one, you've learned most of the rhythms to where, like, by my second, halfway through my second one, I was like, I don't need my orange squares or my red squares to be written down anymore to check off. Like, got that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Speaking of that, I made a little bit of progress on this weekend because, yes, I am actually mid Papillon as well. I just don't talk about it because there's too many other things I need to do because not everyone wants to make a Papillon, and I'm still trying to show you all fun things that you can make with the yarn in the shop. I'm still trying to keep the business going a little. Not saying you're not. Anyway.
I make Papillons. Everybody knows this.
And Papillons have been good for the shop as well. But I know people are always looking for inspiration, and they used to come in the shop to see inspiration. And now you can't. So you can peer through the windows. We could hold up things to you out in the plaza. We can bring them out on the plaza, but it's a little tougher now. So we try to show you stuff in the newsletter. We try to show you stuff on social media. And here, I mean, it's not the same as true color and seeing it and feeling it and touching it. But I did a Papillon class this weekend, which inspired me to get back to my Papillon. And I'm at the point in mine, I'll hold it up. I'm at the point in mine where I can't stretch it out and show you the whole thing unless I put it on 2 needles or a longer needle, and I don't have that energy right now. So
was it on Knit and Chat, your Facebook group, that you saw somebody had taken their Papillon
that was
off
that was the Butterfly Knit Along group.
Oh
yeah,
shout out to whoever that was, because
that's badass.
That to take it off needles, take a picture, and then get it all back on the needles.
That's really what she meant. I mean, it was a picture. You could see the stitch marker still kind of laying in place. I didn't see a needle there going through them, but it looks like, so she could take a picture. She took it off of her needle so she could spread it out, and I was like, oh, how's she going to put it back on? Maybe she had a lifeline that we couldn't see, but I was terrified just looking at that picture. However, so this is as stretched out as mine is. That looks horrible. Is going to get. It may not look like it's grown all that much since you last saw it, but
your Pokemon, you started your Pokemon balls, right?
I'm at the spot where I can start my Pokemon balls.
Okay.
And we're talking about the green and blue squares in the pattern guide. Like those that she just made are going to go right here. If I hold it out, like one side out like that. Like, see, if I bend it, you can see where they're going to go. That's pretty cool. So I think the last time I held this up, I had just done the in between section 1 and 2. The reason I'm calling the rows or the back and forth stripes now, personally, is because I've been calling them sections, but then the pattern also calls, like, the big thing up until where it's straight is section 1. So there's 3 big sections, and then there's all these parts that are numbered through like 29, right? 29, then the pods. I don't think
30.
Does she call the pods 30? Or?
No, it's through row 30.
Okay.
Then the pods. So technically it's 30.
It's a bunch. But so those numbers I'm now calling stripes, and they're stripes with bubbles in them. But it's just so, especially in my classes, my lingo doesn't get confusing, because if I'm calling big thing sections and small thing sections, then it's like, what? If you've never done it before.
Technically, each stripe is 4 rows. Technically.
Yes, I agree.
One of those rows is a bunch of short rows.
Yes,
but
it's the over all the way over increase, which she calls a row 5.
Yeah.
All the way over increase.
Back and forth.
And
back
then
and forth,
over back and blah 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 blah. Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah.
You're very good at
and
that.
Then,
I'm like, and then so the
and
the
then a back and forth of the main color, or the contrasting. Sorry.
It's okay. It can confuse people too. So my phone just buzzed. I should just put it away somewhere else. So yeah, it's with the blue, like mine. So mine is with Mirasol Concha for my blue, and Barocco Quinoa for my gray, which they call lavender actually. And I'm really excited. It's gonna be. I'm doing it on a 7 because it's like sport / DK weight, and so this is already a lot bigger than the other 2 I've done. It's going to come out bigger. I'm very excited because it is mostly cotton, little bit of wool. The concha is 1 strand of wool and 1 strand of cotton together. So I think I'll be able to wear it during the summer, like cool moments in the summer. So I'm excited, and I need to keep working on it because.
And I've probably mentioned this before, but my plan when she finishes that one is to put my
Oh, are we gonna layer?
I'm gonna stack them with my 10.5, my needle or my shawl done on 10.5.
Mm-hmm.
This one's done on 9s. That one's done on 7s, and then we'll have the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And
We'll do one of them. Probably the one. Well, the one hanging by the register. We have one hanging down from the register, and it's probably grown just from hanging there.
Yeah.
But it's still it's going to be a lot smaller.
I wanna see
You know,
the not pyramid, but the stack where you can see the different sizes and how
we will
big
put that on social media. That will be great. It's really funny. So I blocked 2 shawls this weekend.
And not your Papillon.
And not the Papillon I finished. Not my second. My second Papillon, that was the Heritage Wave Solar, and so it should look like a monarch butterfly. I haven't blocked that one yet.
It's okay.
Is it really?
It is, because mine aren't blocked, so actually that one would be really better for our picture, because that way you can see what the unblocked size of all of them is.
Look at you trying to make it a good thing that I haven't blocked my Papillon. Oh, man.
And I have a feeling you won't be able to block that one, because you don't have enough pads.
I
don't know if you're going to have to.
I don't know if I need to. Unless, I mean, I've seen people block the smaller ones either to shape out. The one thing it does do is it can shape up your pods so they're nicer.
Your pods and
it can take care of your short rows.
The internet froze.
Our app.
Go figure. Take 2.
Take 2 again. And we were in the middle of talking about blocking the Papillon. So, you were saying it can help shape the bottom part?
Yeah, the where you do all the middle section.
Yeah, which is what usually really annoys people about the Papillon. If there's it's a spot that will hump weird on their needle, and they'll be like, "How do I do this?" But you get through it. And it's
I just
awesome.
happen to have one.
You just happen to have one. So,
if you look at
where it goes, it kind of looks like melting paint.
Yeah, and if you look at it, like it either dimples in or it dimples out without blocking. But I can't block this.
They're too big.
There are not enough.
There was
blocking pads at my house or your house
and we have the bigger
shop.
set.
Yeah.
We have the 18 set from Coco Knits. There was someone on the butterfly group who's like, I don't think, usually like the Knitter's Pride sets of blocking mats come in 9 12 inch by 12 inch, and she's like, I don't think this is gonna be big enough. I'm like, yeah, I blocked it with almost my entire set of 18 here at the shop, which is now the space where I would block it is under
boxes.
a pile of boxes for mailing purposes. So
yeah,
I'm blocking it home, and I have to scare the cat off so he won't eat my pins. And the other thing I want to say about blocking a Papillon is I gently blocked mine just to give shape to the pods. I've seen people who will aggressively block it to really give these points and this, and both of them are really cool looking. It all depends on what look you're going for. So there's many different ways to block them. You know,
if I was going to block this, I would probably pull out all my points.
The moth one.
The moth.
So that would be the only reason I'd love to block this one is I'm actually doing the moth shaping. So I will be doing the little picot edges. But I don't know, since this is mostly cotton, it may not take the blocking as well as wool would. It may not shape up as well. So
and it could either grow or
or who knows. I don't know. It'll grow with wear. Block with wear. So that leads me to the shawl I did block this weekend, which I've already shown off, but it's different today because we shout out to, I think it was Amy G, sent us a meme last night. It was like, it was the Wizard of Oz fairy, and I forget the language.
And when you open your eyes, all your ends will be woven in. It didn't work for me.
Yeah, so I actually sat down and wove my ends in. This, I was getting tired of all these things hanging off of it. So, woven in ends. It took a few minutes, but this just feels better that I'm not catching on random ends that, are draggling down. So, but I wanted to mention on that note, I have like 500,000 things half in my head to talk about, and we'll see. Here's what I had left over from this shawl. And they are going to go in the minion bag of mystery stockpile. we will weigh these after we film to see if either of these, I would guess this one has enough for a 25-gram ball to go in the minion bag of mystery. Not sure about this one. We are starting to offer 125-gram bags with smaller bits and pieces.
Nothing less than 15.
Not itty bitty pieces, but small.
Just so everybody knows, all of these rows up to this point were done with 10 grams or less. So 15-gram plus balls, you can actually get quite.
You can
a few
do parts
rows.
of a Papillon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, y'all get to check this out. We're getting distracted because people walked up on the plaza. We locked the door, right?
We did.
Okay, good. First of all, even on a normal day, we wouldn't be open yet. And second of all, no one's coming inside. So if you want to take your chances that you might get this, Minion Bags of Mystery, you never know what you're going to get before it arrives. And the Surprise Me Sale Bin Support Box, you get whole skeins of yarn. They won't be these, though. You get to make requests, and if possible, we meet them, and if not, we give you fun things. So,
I've been having a lot of fun playing with these support boxes. I've been having a lot of fun playing with the Minion boxes. They are now in the Minion box. And I'm going to say 98% of the yarns that have gone out have not even been acrylic, because we have
cotton, merino, just fun
there's
things.
Been some silk and some tencel, so it's great fun to play with.
And at some point we run out of some of those, and you get other stuff. And so, but we've added recently a whole bunch of cottons and other things. We're really starting to pare down on things we don't find essential, because people either want the essentials right now in terms of regular sales, or they want the really fun hand dyes. And so some of the other things that we kept around just in case, we're like, I don't know if we need them right now. So you could get them if you get a Surprise Me Sale Bin Support Box, but I'm not going to tell you what they are.
There's a growing pile, and the support boxes I've tried to, if you order stuff, I've tried to coordinate different yarns that would look good all in the same project too.
There you go. So if we get down to the dregs, then we're gonna have to give you really, really random stuff. But while we have decent stuff in the sale bin, we'll try to give you things maybe you can make a project out of. Who knows? We're gonna work with you as much as we can, but we can't meet all requests if that's not in the sale bin already. So, the last thing I have to talk about is I'm finally, as I can, because I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now. I'm working on my niece's project, and I'm kind of hoping she's not watching these videos, or her mom's really, really behind. But I will say, Rachel, if you're watching, and you're watching with Sarah, if you want this to be a surprise, stop the video or watch it some other time. Okay? So, I'm Frankensteining a thing together. I'm making her a sweater that has a dragon on the back, because I found this dragon cable pattern. It's Tahisa the Dragoness. A cable pattern for the advanced knitter. And I'm discovering what that means now.
It looks absolutely terrifying. It looks like somebody did a dragon relief.
No, here. So this is what I found online. And it's all done with cables, which is making stitches switch places. I have a basic cable video up on my tips and tricks.
That doesn't look like cables.
31 pages. Oh, it totally is, though. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. I'm really enjoying it, actually.
I'm looking at it going, but that's not like the cables I learned.
a lot. Well, it's beyond basic cable. It is more for the advanced knitter. A lot of cable. So this is written out and charted. And I'm finding there's times when I need both. And I was sitting last night on the couch, and I had paper everywhere. And I was flipping back and forth, and then there's pictures. And then when I was printing out, I'm like, oh, these pictures. I don't think I need these pictures. I needed the pictures. So the pattern has, and I have things out of order, but this is one of the charts. This is chart 1, chart A and chart B.
Oh.
And all the symbols on here, it's a pictorial representation of what you're doing, and all the symbols have interpretations. And one, two, there's 3 pages of telling you what the symbols mean, and they mean different things on the right side and the wrong side, because most cable patterns, will be cable on the right side, and then knit or purl straight across on the back side to kind of set everything in place. This has things happening on every single row. Every single row, something is happening. So you need to know the difference between the same symbol on the right side might have different instructions, so it looks the same on the right side when you're on the wrong side.
I'm okay with not. I really want to do that, but
it's got 2 pages of what to do when these cables seem to appear out of nowhere, because they do. It's actually I-cord, is what I've discovered, with cables that then move off of them. Yeah, that's it. And then,
I'm okay not being an advanced knitter.
And then 4 pages if you want to do it like written out like this instead of the charts. And again, sometimes I have to look because the symbol could mean a different thing in a different place. So I look at the written instructions to see if it helps me with that. It is, if you include the border edges of it, it is 96 rows long. Here's another chart, and then like all these pages of like pictures of what to do. So I just finished row 30. I want to show you how it looks. Now I'm doing it on a pretty dark yarn, so it may or may not show up on camera like at all. I'll try to show it really close, but I'm super excited. Liz hasn't seen this yet.
It looks so cool. It looks like you're, setting in a relief.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cool.
Like the yarn I'm using is actually much lighter than the camera is going to show it off. But yeah, see, that's kind of showing it. Here is the dragon wings are right here, and the tail is, I've actually got it past a part where it curls around in the center. It is bless you. It is really, really cool. Really fun. And I'm using up a yarn that when the new dye lot came in, it was totally different than this dye lot. So I'm using up the old dye lot because it's so pretty. So it's something my niece should have. I'm really having fun. It doesn't look exactly the same or quite as clean as the photo that I just showed you looks. But again, I am I'm about a third of the way through. And it's really fun. And this is the easier part of it. Again, this bottom part, trying to catch it in the light, it's probably the easier part. So my niece's birthday is on July 5th, and I'm gonna truck through this weekend. So I would love to be showing you on camera progression. But I'm kind of hoping that around the edges of some lessons I have planned this weekend and other things going on this weekend, I might actually get this done. Because I've told you all before, for me personally, when it's interesting and different and challenging, sometimes for me it goes faster.
This will probably be the first year you've knocked out a project before,
Well, let's keep in mind. Okay, so I am taking this pattern and I am putting it in the middle of this sweater. So I'm gonna pound out the back side of this. I'm gonna knock it out if I can this weekend. But then I still have the rest of the sweater to make. So we'll see. We will keep you updated. But excuse me. Here's the last little bit I thought I could talk about, because we mentioned it on Knit Night the other night. Is like, I don't do stuff like this very often. I might do it for birthdays, for my niece and nephew, for stuff like that, because as a shop owner, I have to knit inside the box. Mm-hmm. I really do, because anyone who sees this and goes, ooh, that's really cool, can you do a class on that?
Nope.
Not really. I mean, I could try, but it's if people are inspired to try this on their own, that's fantastic. But for the most part, if I want to teach you something, I'm going to follow the pattern to the letter. because then it's easier to communicate to anyone who wants to learn how to do it, especially if they are not on as experienced side of knitting. I'm not a big fan of like, well, you're a beginner, you can't do this, or you're advanced, so you can't do a simpler pattern. You know, I'm a firm believer that anyone who knows how to knit and purl can make just about anything. It's easier for me to teach you if you're newer to knitting. It's easier for me to communicate it to you if we're not deviating from the pattern, if we're doing what's written. Because sometimes if you're doing a pattern for the first time, to then add in extra embellishments or change it can be a lot. Take it a step at a time.
And you're doing basically 2 patterns at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you're having to follow the sweater patterns up the edge, and you're having to follow for the middle, you're having to do your charts.
Yeah.
And
luckily right now I'm knitting straight until I get to the armholes, which are going to be at about 13 inches up. And hopefully by that length, when the armholes cut in, I'll be through enough of the pattern that I won't be interfering with the pattern to do the arm. But so right now it's not as complicated. But the flip side of that is, one of the awesome things about knitting and crocheting is you can modify the pattern. You can totally change it. So instead of like, I can't find anything that fits me in the shops. One of the people I profiled in the newsletter this week is a guy who said, I couldn't find accessories I liked, so I started making my own.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, who sells accessories 200 years out of date for no, you know.
And Liz, you really liked the crop sweaters because your skirts pick up really up high, so long sweaters just don't work.
No.
So you can modify things or find a pattern that works.
I'll find a regular sweater pattern, even if it's not a cropped one, and I'll crop it to about 5 inches from the armpit. And like, everybody's like, you're done? I'm like, yeah, and then I got sleeves. I'm gonna die. But I can alter to make them bigger. I can alter to make them, you know, whatever I want.
Yeah, which is one of the really cool things. If someone, you know, back when people came in the shop, we can have this discussion outside now, was like, but I have long arms, so I need to make the sleeves longer. You can do that. If you have shorter arms or a longer torso or a shorter torso, or the girls, you need to make room for that. There's ways to learn to do that, and that's one of the really cool things. If you're making your own garments, you can make it fit. However, for me, if I'm making something that has to go in the shop, which pretty much is my life now, you know, and I'm not complaining about that. That's my life now. Is I really need to stick to the pattern, or if I have test knitters, or if I have people who want to make samples for the shop, we need to stick to the pattern, because people are going to come in and say, that's pretty, I want to make that.
Exactly like that.
And if they want to modify it, that's great.
Yeah.
But if I change things, unless I can clearly communicate how I've changed it, then it's going to be, why doesn't mine look like yours?
Like that cabled, the cabled neck cozy thing, the green one.
The green one?
Yeah. You followed the directions, but you had to find where
there's a modification for the edges so it looks better.
So and that was the picture on the front of the pattern, but then the pattern was not
like the Ravelry listing had a nicer seed stitch edge, which is the reason I picked it, and then the pattern didn't. And so I had to Frankenstein a little bit together there too. And now when people say, ooh, I want to make that, I have to figure out, or already have it written down, how to do that. Yeah. And then people kind of have to bounce back and forth. And it's all, so I need to warn people, hey, you're going to have to bounce back and forth. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And if they are, then we're great. But I've said this before on the show. This is a shout out to Carol. We have a knitter. We call her one of our minionettes. Liz is a minion. Carol is a mignonette. And we actually call it Carolizing here in the shop, because Carol loves to change her patterns and have fun with them and do all kinds of really cool things. And that's fun. And that's awesome. And again, she does it so much, it's a verb. So when we were sitting around the table, it would be here's a new pattern I want to do. Carol go, ooh, but what if you changed this and did this, and it would look really cool if you did that? And I would have to look at her very lovingly and say, you can do that. I can't. I need to stick to the pattern so my knitters know what they're getting, or crocheters know what they're getting.
For the most part, I'm a stay in the box because I don't like doing the math to Caroline.
So please, as a knitter and crocheter, please think outside the box. It is beautiful. It is wonderful. But part of the reason patterns are there is for people who don't want to do that.
Can you have something the math that went into this?
I know.
Like,
people keep asking, is there a crochet version of the Papillon? And I keep thinking in my head, in some ways, a crocheted version, once it was figured out, would be even easier because there wouldn't be a lot of back and forth. There'd be grow the stitches, shrink the stitches on one row. You'd go from single to half double to double to triple and back down again. You can make your bubble in one pass. But figuring out where to do that so it makes sense, that's what someone who has a good brain for that and can write the pattern, that's awesome. That would be fantastic.
Or if you wanted to do it all in single crochet, you just do all those stitches.
Then you could do it back and forth. Maybe. We'd have to see. I don't know if either one of us wants to tackle that.
That's only because I refer to knitting as single crochet for the rest of your life. So
well, and so I think I mean the lesson for today is there's so many ways to engage with knit and crochet. There's making stuff up on your own. There's following a pattern. There's leaping from the pattern and doing your own thing, and they're all awesome. They're all really cool. And you will quickly figure out what you're comfortable with and what you want to do. And some people are comfortable with the challenge of, I don't know what's going to happen, that's awesome, like a mystery knit along. And some people are like, nope, I want to know exactly what's going to happen, and I want to walk through each and every piece.
I've done a mystery knit along. I had to find the spoiler page before I committed to it.
Liz likes spoilers.
I don't like surprises.
So, and so we're different. And it's just about 10 and the phone is ringing. So we're going to wrap up for today. There might be an abrupt end, but especially so someone leaving a message doesn't necessarily end up on camera. We're going to say we love you and we miss you. And please subscribe and like and share and thumbs up for things. And what do you usually say, Liz?
Stay tuned for more adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Okay. Bye, guys.
We'll see you next week.
We love you so much. And this is a long message, but before it runs out, bye.